Well, hello and welcome to At Home today. We're so glad that you decided to drop by and spend some time with us here in the kitchen. You know, I always say at the end of the program, it just wouldn't be the same without you. Well, then I really mean that, because when you're not watching, I kind of have a hunch. I kind of have that sense. Somebody's not watching that always does. And you always tell me in your letters, you know, I didn't get to see it, I missed this, what happened? So I know when you're not watching. Well, anyway, we're always glad to have you here in the kitchen. And today, because you have asked so often, we're going to do the whole program on this little critter right here, the zucchini. Member of the squash family. This is a versatile puppy. I want to tell you, you can do so many things with this. It's incredible. You can make cakes, you can make muffins, you can make cookies, you can do pancakes, you can do just about this little fella here can get himself into a whole lot of dishes because he's so versatile. And the whole program today is going to be using zucchini in casseroles and things. But before we get started, I want to share a couple letters because I always enjoy hearing from you. This one is Mary from White Oak here in Pennsylvania. She says, "Dear Arlene, I loved your program, especially the one you just did where you got yourself all splashed when you were mixing up that one recipe. I've done the same thing myself quite a few times." Well, thank you very much. I really did make a mess, and now I can see that the viewers like that when I make a mess because it's happened to you. Well, it does. It's at home, right? The other one says, or another one says, "Dear Arlene, your at-home show seems to be more delightful every time I watch it, and everything you prepare looks so delicious and mouth-watering. May God continue to bless you and this dynamic program." This is from a dear lady here in Pittsburgh. This one says, "Dear Arlene Williams, I just viewed your cooking show. I'd just like to tell you I really enjoyed it. I watch most of the cooking shows, and I do enjoy them also, yet there is something more down to earth and truly charming about your program. I hope to see more of your programs in the future. Keep up the good work, and Arlene, you'll always be welcome in my kitchen." That's nice. Thanks, Julia. I appreciate when we get those letters because it helps me to know how you feel about what we've been doing. And I hope that today's program will give you that spark to get out there. You know, the zucchinis are coming in now. Almost everybody you see says, "I planted a few zucchini plants and now I've got them everywhere." These are some good ideas of what you can do with the zucchini. You can also make some of these and give them to a neighbor along with some fresh ones. Maybe that will stir up her creativity. The important thing is, in whatever we say or do, whether it be with zucchinis or whatever, think about your neighbor, think about a friend, think about sharing, because that gives you a real good feeling on the inside. Well, we're off to zucchini land. As soon as we come back from this next message, we'll be right back. Here's today's at-home hint. When you will be doing extra cooking, keep shredded cheese, breadcrumbs, and chopped onion on hand for use in salads, casseroles, and vegetables.
For updates, pictures, stories, and more, like us on Facebook. To watch hundreds of classic episodes, subscribe to us on YouTube. And to get hundreds of free recipes, visit ctvn.org/athome.
Well, the first one that we're going to be doing is called a stuffed zucchini. And basically what we've taken and what we've done is you take 2 whole zucchinis, these were together, and you slice them down, cut the end off, and you put them the pulp side down in a dish like this one. Put them in your microwave for about 3 minutes until the pulp is soft, and you can scoop it out with this little melon baller. This is the handiest, easiest way to do that. All right, and about 3 minutes should do it. If you don't have a microwave, you can put them in a skillet with the pulp side down for about 3 minutes with a little bit of water to let it boil. And then scoop this out because we're going to make a filling for inside. This little gadget is very handy for that. All right, here we have in a saucepan, we have a little bit of oil. And what we're going to do is add about 1/3 of a cup of chopped, really finely chopped, especially finely chopped onion, because you don't want big chunks of onion in this. And we're going to need to get this going here. You know, this time of the year, it's so much fun to be making things that you can come out of the garden with. You've got the zucchini, you might have some onions, you might have some fresh chives or some parsley. Bring it on in and start to add it to some of the vegetables that you normally would not think to use it with. Because you'd be surprised, a little bit of fresh dill can change the flavor of any vegetable, and it adds a sweetness to it. Now you think, oh, but that's a spice, Arlene. How could that add a sweet? It does. Believe me, it does. Well, we're going to let these brown up a little bit, or let them cook, but not brown. That's the important thing. There's about a tablespoon of olive oil there. And as these start to cook, then this is the pulp that came out of the centers of the zucchini, and we've just chopped it up fine. We're going to add that to the onions once the onions get going. This is not too much oil here, so there's not a lot of grease. And I think that this is a change, because this could be a great side dish instead of just a plain vegetable. Say you're having some folks over, you're doing some chicken or whatever. You'd want to do something special for a side dish. This is something special. Not just open a can of green beans or slice up the zucchini and put them in and let them steam. This is something a little bit more. And I think it makes a nice presentation at the table too. So, all right, we got the onion going. Now we're going to add, this is the chopped pulp from those 2 zucchinis. We're going to let those brown up. Cook together. Onion always smells wonderful, right? Okay, we'll cook it about 1 minute, because you don't want the zucchini to get mushy. And if it cooks very long, it's one of the nice things about zucchini. It doesn't take long to cook. Just like onions, that together smells wonderful. All right, now after we've cooked that for, we'll say that's about a minute there. Probably should just a little bit longer. Now we're going to add some flour, and this is just 1 teaspoon of flour. Okay, 1 flour. We're going to add some dried basil. And certainly you can adjust the spices to your own liking. We will add some pepper. Just stir this around. Now your flour is going to absorb the oil that's in the bottom of that pan. And what else? Let's see, the pepper. Then we're going to add the milk all at once. This is going to make a kind of a sauce. Remember, you thickened it. Add that milk. We're going to let this cook 1 more. Just a little bit longer for that to thicken up. Okay? Needs to really get hot and bubbly. When it starts to bubble, you know you're just about there. And then you let it cook. See, you have to cook. Once you add that flour, you let it cook so it doesn't taste floury or pasty like we've done before. Might need to turn that down just a little bit. Okay? Now we have a slightly beaten egg here. And the key is that we want to add a little bit of that mixture to the egg, so we don't want it to curdle. And then we're going to stir in some cheese. Now what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of this to the egg so that you can temper the egg to what you're adding it to, because if you don't, you'll have a fried egg here, you see. So once you do that, then you can stir the egg into, does that look good? Yes, it does. Now the final preparation here is we're going to stir in some Parmesan cheese. Okay? Looks good, doesn't it? Now this is making your filling for your zucchinis. I think we've got it there. Now you take your baking dish, clean up a little bit here, and spray it with Pam so they don't stick. And we're going to lay our zucchinis into this baking dish. Okay? And we're going to begin to spoon. And I would suggest you do this very carefully. Just begin to spoon the filling into the zucchinis. Okay? I would say that this would be something, I mean, there's no unusual taste in this that your kids wouldn't like it. I think if they like zucchini or if they don't like zucchini, might be something you'd want to try on them. I know that for a long time, people didn't eat much zucchini, but when it became so plentiful, then I love it when we start figuring, hey, this is a nice, inexpensive dish, the ingredients are inexpensive. Let's try some creative ways of preparing this that we would all enjoy. So here we are. That look good? Now we're going to bake these in the oven for just a short time. They only bake for about 25 minutes in a 350-degree oven. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. That's all there is to it. You got your cheese in there. We'll let those go, okay? Now, while that's getting done, we want to start over here with another recipe that a friend of mine from a station that airs at home as a daily program in the Manassas, Virginia area said to me, Arlene, I've got this wonderful zucchini recipe. Would you like to do it on the program? I said, Bill, send it to me. Bill Kilchenstein from down in WTKK in Manassas, Virginia. Really a nice guy, and he sent this recipe to me. First of all, we took 2 medium onions and we boiled them in a little water just for about 5 minutes until they got nice and soft, okay? Then it also has squash, zucchini, it's got some cheese in it, it's got some tomatoes, and it's got some stuffing mix. And the principle in this particular dish is that you're going to layer everything in a casserole, and it's going to cook up and marinate a lot of different flavors. So we start in layering. We're going to put a thin layer of onions in the bottom of our casserole dish that we have sprayed with Pam. I'd say put about half of these. Okay. And they don't need to be, these are boiled now, and they don't need to be mushy. They need to have, see, they're a little firm yet. That's what you want to do. Okay. The next layer then will be the squash. We'll put some yellow squash. And again, it's just layering over the onions that are there. Okay. And then the next one will be the zucchini, a layer. And we're talking thin layers here because that's what Bill told me it calls for, just thin layers of zucchini, onion, squash, zucchini. The next layer then will be the stovetop stuffing. Now, you don't make it according to the package directions. You take the dry ingredients, which I have here, and the little herb packet. And these you mix together. Excuse me, 1 minute, let me get a spoon. These you're going to mix together. Don't put any moisture to it. Don't do it like it says on the package. But you're going to put about half of those over top of the zucchini and the onions and the yellow squash. And then this is 1 can of stewed tomatoes. Again, you're going to just spoon them out and put them over top, about half of the can. Okay. Now he said just spread them out a little bit, which we have. Put a little bit of juice, because that will go on last anyway. And then again, you start with the onions. You're going to layer this. This is going to go in the oven and bake for a while, for about 40 minutes or so, because he said, now he assured me, and Bill, I've taken your word for it, so I'm trusting you. He assured me that this is a very tasty. He said, oh, Arlene, your viewers are going to love this. They're going to really, really like this. You might have to push down a little bit to fit everything in, but you're going to do the layering twice, okay? Once and then twice, because the layering then will all cook together and you'll have a delicious taste. Next, we put the zucchini. Probably just need a couple of zucchini. You could make this, if you wanted to make it for a crowd, it would not be hard to incorporate this recipe for a crowd, because you can see that it would just be more and more ingredients and just keep layering. Then after that, we're going to add, again, our stuffing mix. And that goes on the top. Put it all on. Why not, right? All right. Make it taste good. Might have to push down. Then we're going to do the tomatoes again across the top. Let me spoon these out. Might want to crush the tomatoes down a little bit. I didn't realize these were in such big pieces, but this is just plain stewed tomatoes, not regular tomatoes. Now, stewed tomatoes have different flavors in, and a lot of spices and pepper and onion and stuff, so that would add to the flavor of this casserole too. After we have that done, and I think we do, let's see, make sure I have everything. Now we're going to, after we end with the tomato, how big your casserole is or how many layers you want to do it, always end with the tomato. And then you're going to do the Parmesan cheese over the top. And Bill says, do this generously. So we're going to try it. You say, it looks a little dry, Arlene. That's what I'm thinking too. But you know, I think the zucchini and that squash are going to cook up, and there's a lot of moisture in those too. So I think this is going to be fine. Now this goes into a 325-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Okay, we'll put that in our oven, see how our other zucchinis are doing. Oh, they're looking great. Put that in right there beside it for about 30 minutes. All right?
If you love At Home with Arlene Williams, then subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have hundreds of episodes with all your favorite recipes, holidays, and friends.
Say hi to your fan club. Hi, fan club.
And don't forget to click the bell so you'll never miss another episode of At Home.
Next, we're going to make something. I told you this zucchini is so versatile. Dale, how many minutes do we have here so I can make sure I have enough time? Okay, I think we do. If not, I will talk you through the rest of it. This is a dessert that you can do with zucchini. And first of all, you take about 3/4 cup of butter, and get my little spatula here. 3/4 cup of butter, and it needs to be at room temperature. We're going to make some zucchini bars. Everybody's eating brownies and stuff. These are zucchini bars. Sure, there's sugar in them, there's flour in them, but there's zucchini instead of chocolate or chocolate chips. And this butter needs to be at room temperature so that it will blend well. Need to mix this. I'm going to use my little trusty mixer here. This needs to be fluffy before you add your sugars to it. If this isn't fluffy, they don't incorporate as well and doesn't get as fluffy or high a bar. Okay, when I would actually do that a little bit more to make it more fluffy, but we're in a time pinch. So we're going to add 1/2 cup of sugar. Sometimes I have to check and make sure that that's what I think it is. And 1/2 cup of brown sugar. The girls that help me with this, they do all the preparation. Sometimes I forget what that is. I think, what does that look like there? But they're great to work with. I appreciate every one of them. All right, so we have the brown sugar and the white sugar. This we need to blend really, really well. Feel like the butter maybe could have been just a little bit more soft, because when it's softer, it blends faster. This will work, but it will take time. Once I have these blended very, very well, and for the sake of time, again, I'm not going to take the time to do it, but you know that they have to be very creamy when they're well blended. I'm going to go on with this because I want to make sure that you get it all. Now we're going to add, this is some vanilla. We're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to beat that in. Then we're going to get 2 eggs ready. And the eggs need to be beat in one at a time. Okay? So we're going to crack one. You know, sometimes they tell you just dump the 2 eggs in. You can't do that with this recipe. They want you to beat it one at a time because it does beat air into it, which is good. All right? You can do this with a big mixing bowl if you have that, and you have to keep scraping the sides down. It's important to do that. Okay? And let's do the second one. I think we just lost a little chunk of brown sugar there when flying out of the bowl. But this is the second one. It's coming together now. You can see that it changes the texture. When you beat those eggs in, it's important because it beats air into it. Okay? Now, we're going to stir in our flour, and that is 1 3/4 cup of flour, and our baking powder. Now, something has to be in here to cause these to raise, and that's what the baking powder does. And this is 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. And when I add like that, what I like to do is mix those two, mix the flour and the baking powder together before I mix it in, so it evenly distributes it. Now, with your trusty spatula, you're going to stir this in. Now, what I like to do too, because I've told you before, if you're going to add raisins or anything, nuts to a batter, if you add it with the flour before you stir it together, the nuts or raisins, zucchini, won't settle to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put my zucchini in now. That's 2 cups of shredded zucchini. See how moist that is? This is wonderful. It's one of God's creations. One of the good things He put on the earth. We put all good things on earth, but one of the things that's good for you, low calorie, tastes good, and it's so versatile. That's what I appreciate about it. We're going to add about 1 cup of coconut too. Just add that to it, and about 3/4 of a cup of chopped walnuts. Now this bakes for about 40 minutes. Let's mix it all together. Clean up a little bit here. Get my little chunk of brown sugar out of the way. And after it bakes, while it's still warm, we're going to add some ingredients together to make, it's called a frosting, but it's really not a frosting. What it is, really, is a glaze. And you'll think, this doesn't look like a frosting. And I'm going to put that together for you so you see what I'm talking about. But right now, we need to mix this very well. And you think, boy, that looks like too much zucchini for that little bit of flour. Yeah, and you think, oh, my kids would never eat that. That's got all that good stuff in there, like zucchini and the things that they don't like. But I'm going to tell you, if you don't tell them about the zucchini, they might see it in there, but they're going to like it because it's a tasty bar. It's a moist bar, and it tastes good, freezes well. And this frosting that I've been telling you about that you put on the top of it is flavored with cinnamon, so it really brings out a delicious taste to these bars and perks it up a little bit. No, there's no onions in these bars, but there is a lot of good zucchini and walnuts and coconut, which adds another flavor. Did you know that if you wanted to make something with zucchini and you couldn't come up with a recipe, you could take your regular banana bread recipe. The flour, the sugar, keep all those ingredients the same, but where it calls for the bananas, substitute that same amount of zucchini. You've got a wonderful zucchini bread. It's very easy. All right, this looks very thick, and it is because it's supposed to be like that. And we're going to spoon it out, clean the bowl. No sense leaving 1 bar in there for the dishwasher. Okay, we'll clean that all out. And just spread. Now you think maybe this wasn't going to fit. This is a jelly roll size pan, by the way. Important to use the correct size pans when you do these things. Just spread it out. It's kind of gummy, gooey, but it tastes so good when it's baked. It's delicious. Okay. Get it in the corners. Make sure that you well grease the pan too, because that's very important. Make sure it's well greased. Push it into the corners. If you have a high and low area, what will happen where it's low, it will burn as it's baking. Because this is going to bake, like I told you, for about 40 minutes. And these bars are good to freeze. They're excellent. Take on a picnic, because once the glaze gets on there, they're ready to go, and they don't have to have any refrigeration or anything like that. So this goes into that oven, and when we come back, I'm going to show you all about how to make that delicious glaze for our zucchini bars, besides show you our casserole and our stuffed zucchini. We'll be right back.
To get all the recipes from today's show, plus hundreds of others, just click the link in the video description or visit our website, ctvn.org/at-home.
Well, we have the zucchini bars already baked, and as I promised, I'm going to do the glaze that goes over it. This is 1 cup of powdered sugar. We add that. We add some vanilla. You just toss all this in at one time. There's a couple of tablespoons, about 2.5 tablespoons of milk, some melted butter or margarine, and the key ingredient that really sparks the flavor of the zucchini is that cinnamon. And really, like I told you, it's called a frosting, but it does not look like a frosting. It's a glaze, really, because it doesn't get thick like a frosting. And you need a little whip to be sure that you can whip out all of the, or that you can blend them all together, all the little bits of cinnamon, and dissolve the powdered sugar. And when it gets like that, after you've baked your bars and you bring them out while they're still warm, I'd let them cool about 15 minutes. Then you just pour this over the pan of bars and let it soak in. And I want you to take a good look at the zucchini bars that we've prepared for you. I've dusted just a little bit of powdered sugar over the top. Makes a wonderful, moist cookie, or a bar, whatever you want to call it. Delicious and really good for your family. Next, we want to go to our stuffed zucchini. Look how nice and brown that cheese makes the stuffing, the filling for the zucchini. And Bill Kelchenstein, everybody's mouth is watering for this delicious casserole that you gave us the recipe for. We're going to taste that in just a little bit. And as I always say, be sure to join us the next time, because it just wouldn't be the same without you here at home. See you then.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home. Thank you for watching.
Fresh produce provided by Jordan Banana, wholesalers of fresh fruit and vegetables in Dravosburg, PA. Cookware provided by Woolies. Your favorite gourmet deserves the best for less from Woolly Balcony Cookware. Groceries provided by Foodland, where the answer is always yes. Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.